wonderful good day to you. This is Owen McCafferty. You can see I'm a little beat up as a result of a dermatologist's best efforts to save me from basal cell or squamous cell carcinomas. So I look a little beat up. Reminds me of my dear old dad, who would always come back and look very similar to me. And she said I have in my future one of the defoliant creams or the hated blue light, which I've had it before and it makes me look like I'm a victim of Hiroshima. So that's all just an aside to explain that I didn't get into a fight. And the common comment is you should see the other guy. But I do want to talk about something that hit today, because a client called me while I was going through some continuing education. And he said, boy, you're the only guy I know that when I call, you're on continuing education. And I said, I hope not. So I thought, well, gee whiz, do you ever ask your CPA, your attorney, your investment banker, your insurance agent, or your investment advisor, how much continuing education do they have a year? I can report to you the last reporting period I have for the state of Florida. I'm licensed in 6 states, so as a CPA, I'm also certified as certified financial forensics. I'm a certified global management accountant. I have certificates in digital accounting, and I'm of course the certified veterinary practice manager, and each one of these has specific requirements. Now one will accept another. Usually the accounting classes will be accepted state by state, but the others aren't necessarily that way. So I spend a good amount of my time in continuing ed. And I just, for purposes of this webcast, I asked my assistant just to go through the number of hours that I've taken so far from July 1st, 2024, which is the start of my reporting period, to today's date. And today's date is November 21st, 2024. And so far, I have over 84 hours of continuing ed during those few months. And the reason for it is not necessarily that I have to keep up with requirements of each state, because they're not necessarily that bad. They ask for a minimum every 2-year period of 80 hours. Well, in a matter of months, you can see I got that. But the big issue is that things are changing so critically now that you can't just sit on your laurels if you're in a profession or an occupation with a licensure and hope to stay current. And it always amazes me that clients don't ask, well, how many hours of continuing education do you have a year? Because things change in accounting at a horrible rate, be they in financial reporting, taxation, consulting, valuation. It's just going all over the place. So you have to stay current. But I think clients assume that everybody does the same thing. And because a person takes continuing education, it means that they will spot things, at least issues. They may not necessarily have the answer. They'll have to look it up. Maybe they'll use tools like GPT 4.0, Teams, or Copilot, or Gemini, or many of the add-on artificial intelligence systems. Or they ask the accountant, how many magazines do you subscribe to that are profession specific? What do you do? What do you read? How do you record your time for continuing ed? Some of the medical professions may not necessarily have the same needs for continuing education because things may not change in the patients that you treat on a continuing basis. Now, I grant you in some disciplines they do. But when you've got a very active federal and state legislature, and you have regulations that are being popped out by the semi-gross from the executive branches of government, and you have departments like the Department of the Treasury and the Internal Revenue Service that just see their duty to promulgate as many different rules as they can, you got to stay current. And then as a CPA, you're also a victim to courts because you have to be aware of judicial precedent that occurs in tax law in each one of the courts. And if you do any international work, and we do just a touch of international work, you have to be aware of some of the nuances that exist on the international financial reporting standards. So there's a lot of different things that has to go through. And it always amazes me that people don't ask their professionals how many hours of continuing education they take. You may want to do like I do, and that is to count the number of hours and to see what areas that they're in. Now, I have to be careful because I have to make sure that I'm spending hours in the areas that are, first of all, required for licensure, because if you prepare financial statements or you do tax returns or you do valuation work, or if you're involved in financial forensics, all of which I am, as they relate to veterinary medicine, dentistry, and dermatology, you really have to be on top of your game. And then when you consider that you have to know what's going on in the professions that you serve. So that means reading up in either medical economics, dental economics, or the plethora of veterinary business publications, as well as spending time each day going through your email and trying to know, based on subscriptions that you have, about what's going on in the professions that you serve. So there's quite a bit of study. I can tell you for sure in the fields of accounting, law, and investment banking and investments in total, you better know what's going on. You better be investing because you're not going to be doing a good job for those people that engage you. So those are just some of the considerations. This is off the wall, but it may not be a bad idea, too, for you to keep track of your continuing education. What are you doing to stay current? And then when a client/patient asks you, what are you doing? Then you'll be able to honestly and honorably answer the areas that you are focused towards. I always enjoy when I talk with my dermatologist. As you can see, I see her quite a bit and find out what meetings that she's gone to, what areas does she have, where are the new burgeoning components that are occurring. Because even when you have a chance to talk with somebody in an informal setting, you do learn a bit. So I just want to suggest that you keep track of your continuing ed. Certainly when you engage someone, ask them next time, so how many hours of continuing ed have you had this year? How many during the reporting period? Because what I've had in terms of CEE was only from July 1st forward. I had probably about 90 hours from January 1st through June 30th of 2024. So, gosh, looks like I'll be hitting another 200 continuing education year. I encourage you to pay attention to what you're doing and to be proud of the fact that you do invest in your profession. You invest not only dollars, but you certainly invest in time. So on behalf of Professional Fusion, I'd like to say thank you very much This is always a joy to talk with you, and just a little tip to certainly ask those that you engage, how current are they in knowledge? Not only in terms of where they graduated with what silly graduate degrees, but how current are they? Well, until next time, all I can say is thank you for listening.